Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Unarmored Talk podcast, where we will have real life conversations that helps you develop an accurate way of thinking. And the way we're going to do this is by gaining a better understanding of how emotions, feelings, and thoughts can influence the outcome of a personal or professional challenge. I'm your host, Mario P. Fields, and today's guest is Jesse Iwuji. He is a Lieutenant Commander, United States Navy Reserves. He's an NBC analyst. He's a NASCAR driver, keynote motivational speaker, business owner, and he's the first and only active duty United States naval officer competing in NASCAR. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, Jesse, you got one heck of a journey. Can you tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting journey. That's for sure. I've been a lot of cool places, gotten to do a lot of cool things, but it all starts with my parents. Both of my parents are from Nigeria originally. They immigrated from Nigeria to the U.S. back in the 80s, and before having me and my two brothers and my sister. And when they came over from Nigeria, my dad decided that, hey, Dallas, Texas was going to be where he settled and where he got the family going. And growing up in Dallas, for those who know football, football is king in that state. I mean, that's God in football. That's it. Texas. That's all. That's all Texas is about. So, growing up there, playing football was the thing. So, in middle school, I played football. High school, played football. And I had these big goals and aspirations to make it to college and play college football and play for a great team. So I worked really hard in high school to get my skills to a place where I could actually get recruited.
Right.
When I first started playing football, I really wasn't that good at all. But I had to work, I had to grind, and just like with anything in life, had to put that effort in on a daily basis so that I could get there. I was that ninth grader who was, after practice when I would get home, I would do an extra 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 calf raisers every single night before I went to sleep. Even if I laid down and I completely forgot to do it, I would get up out of bed at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, doesn't matter. I'd get up out of bed and go do my 100 push-ups.
Wow.
So I did that every night, and I would get a football and lay in my bed and throw it up in the air and catch it with one hand 50 times each hand because I built my forearm strength so I could get better at catching footballs. So I did this every single day and this laying this groundwork on a daily basis and this foundation. That's what allowed me to get better. And then by senior year, all of a sudden I was starting on the varsity team. I was making a lot of plays. Eventually I got seen by some schools and eventually recruited. And when I started getting recruited by the Naval Academy. And I just looked at it as a great opportunity to go to a really good school, get a great education, be able to play for a great football team. And then also when I graduate, pretty much have a career started for me as an officer in the United States Navy. So I took that opportunity. I went to the Naval Academy, played football there all 4 years.
Wow.
I also ran track. While I was playing football. For any Army or Air Force listeners out there, we did beat Army and Air Force all 4 years, never lost to them, not once. So that was pretty cool. And then I graduated 2010 and became a surface warfare officer. So as a surface warfare officer, I basically was on the ships, operating the ships, taking them from point A to point B, fighting a good fight, on the sea. And I went on 2 different deployments in my first 4 years of sea duty. And both those deployments were to the Arabian Gulf. I spent about 15 total months during that time in the Gulf, just sailing around and doing our deployment type stuff. And after I came back from deployment into 2014, I transitioned to shore duty in Monterey at Naval Postgraduate School. But over those 4 or 5 years of sea duty at first, every time I was back home in San Diego, during my free weekends, I was really developing this passion for cars and racing. And I had bought this Challenger and this Corvette, and I was taking them to tracks nearby. And I was having fun going to track days and doing little like small time competitions. But after a few years of that, I finally was just sitting in my room one night in January 2014. And I just made this decision. I was like, you know what? I love cars. I love racing. Why not try to make this my full-time gig?
So you just make this decision
out of nowhere, sitting there. And I was like, you know what? I want to become a professional race car driver. And that's where the journey began. And 2014, from that point on, I just had it set in my mind that I was going to be serving in the Navy and racing in NASCAR eventually. And the grind started from there. And over the next 6 years between then and now, I've been able to find my way into racing, find my way into race cars, find the funding needed, uh, network with the right people to continue to make this journey happen, start racing at the lowest level of NASCAR, work my way up. Now I'm at the second highest level of NASCAR in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. But it's been a really wild journey, fun, difficult in many, many times, but we've made it through. And now I'm sitting here, racing on TV.
That's awesome. But first of all, I'm biased, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a Marine, so go Navy.
Yeah.
But I still have love for our armed forces of the United States of America. But so at any time, did you like have fear? We all have emotions. At
Mhm.
any time, were you scared? Were you depressed? What type of emotions did you have during this journey, and how did you think through them?
Yeah, fear does come into place a lot. People during the journey, you have to understand that anytime you're going from one level to another, you're trying to elevate your life. You're trying to get to a place that normally is seen as very difficult to get to or impossible or something like that. And to understand that that journey, it's going to be long and there's going to be a lot of dark points. It's a tunnel. It's definitely a tunnel. I mean, you're in this tunnel and you're trying to get to the end. There
Yeah.
is, I know it sounds like cliche, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. What happens is people lose sight of the light because they can't see it throughout that journey. When
Right.
you're in a dark tunnel, you're not going to see the light at the end. You can't visually see it. So what happens is people get in this tunnel with all the hopes and dreams of getting to the end and, seeing the gold, seeing the nice stuff, seeing all the success or whatever. And they forget that, hey, during that journey, it's dark. Like you're not going to see anything. So just because you can't see it right when you get in the tunnel doesn't mean it's not there. Like that's where the faith comes in. So throughout the whole time, faith is what's allowed me to continue to push forward. I pray every single day. I pray every single night. God leads me everywhere. I mean, He put the vision in my head to show me that I was going to become a professional race car driver. So I already saw it. So once I already saw it, I knew the deal was already done. All I had to do was just walk through the tunnel and have faith that, hey, He put the vision in my head. So it's there. Even though I can't like visually see it right now, it's there. Just believe and keep pushing and pushing, no matter how many times you trip. Because as dark as that tunnel is, there's gonna be a lot of things that trip you up. There's gonna be little gremlins that come out of nowhere trying to take you out. All this stuff's gonna happen, but you were meant to get to the end as long as you stay strong enough, long enough.
Right. Yeah. And do you think, you ran track, you ran, 200 meter, some other things, but you ran that 4x100 meter. Do you
Yeah.
think that started the addiction for the need for speed?
Yeah, I've always been a sprinter. I've always been fast. I've been, usually like growing up in elementary school, middle school, high school. I was always like one of the fastest in the school, and that's probably this somewhat of the start, but not really. Back when I was 5, 6 years old, I used to watch the show Knight Rider, and that's what
Yeah.
got me into cars. I started liking cars after that. And then there was a show called Viper in the '90s. I
Yep.
used to watch that all the time. Speed Racer cartoon. Used to watch that all the time. And anything racing related, I just used to love watching it on TV, but I never thought I'd be doing it. Not until, after college, all of a sudden I decided that, hey, this is something I want to get into.
No, that's a lot of times, a lot of us watch, the races on TV, and we see how fast the vehicles are going. Even myself and I was like, how is it inside going 100 plus miles per hour? Are those drivers scared? I mean, what's going through their minds, or do they just get used to it? Talk to us a little bit about that, Jesse. How fast have you gone, and what do you feel like when you're in that vehicle?
Yeah, speeds are up there for sure. I mean, we're going 170, 180, 190 miles per
Wow.
hour, depending on the track. And you do that for hours on end next to people. I mean, imagine driving 185 miles per hour with someone just a few inches away from you. And you're both going into a corner together, and you're hoping that the car will stick and you're going to have the grip you need so that you don't, spin out and wreck. So yeah, it can be a little nerve wracking sometimes, but for the most part, we enjoy it. That's why we do it. We enjoy that anxiety that it gives you. I don't know why we just do. We're kind of crazy.
That almost like jumping out of an airplane, right? That adrenaline rush.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to jump out of an airplane.
So when you made the decision that you wanted to compete, train, compete, and go into being a professional, driver for NASCAR, was there any friends or family that thought you were crazy?
Yeah, everyone thought I was crazy. They're like, "Wait, what? This is like not normal. You know, you're African American. You're in the military. Blah blah blah. All this stuff." And for me, I was like, you know, what, I'm not going to let that be a deterrence for me. Like I was already given the vision. Like it was in my head of where I'm supposed to be. So it would be wrong for me not to follow my dream. So I've seen it, and that means it's done. So now follow it. So other people who have maybe doubted the journey, it's that's no fault to them. I mean, they weren't
Right.
given the vision. You know, all of us are given a particular vision of where our life is supposed to go, and not everyone else was given that vision. So if they can't see it for me, I got to see it for myself.
I like that, Jesse, how you highlighted that although some of the people you thought would be your number one fans actually were like, what I mean by crazy, like you said, is what are you doing? There's not that many African Americans in NASCAR, and you're a naval officer, you're in the military. NASCAR driver, you know what? Go back outside and go run some laps.
Yeah, 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 exactly, yeah, exactly, and that's how it is. You know, people are like, "Whoa, what are you like?
Well,
Where's this coming from?" You know, but
are
you
you
know,
okay?
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like I didn't make it up. Like God gave it to me.
Right, right. You're right. And to keep your faith, right? To understand your emotions, but to think through, to go, no, for me, this is God's purpose for me. And thank you all for not supporting me at this moment. But I'm going to continue to
For
work
sure.
hard and put effort towards my goal. And and I think a lot of times people get hard work confused with effort.
Hmm.
They think I'm working hard. I'm working hard. I'm not achieving anything. But there's a difference between thinking you're working hard and effort. And listening to you, it's a lot of effort. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of effort. Yeah, because yeah, there definitely is a difference, and it's actually the first time I've ever like thought of it like that, like hard work and effort. But yes, there is a hard work side of like you just got to put in time. I mean, you got to go. But effort like is actually like be, truly putting your all, putting your energy into it. We all know where our effort is. I can I can go do 1,000 push-ups.
Right.
That's hard work, but to go do them properly and right, it full on everything right, all the energy into it until I have nothing left. That's the effort side. So that's the kind of the difference right there. And on the effort side, yeah, you have to put that effort in every day. You can't just kind of put it in here and there. You got to put it in on a daily basis. The more you put it in, the faster you're going to get to where you want to go. But nothing's guaranteed as far as time wise. Like in the Bible it says knock on the believe, knock on the door, and God will provide. But it never said how many times you have to knock on the door. It didn't say knock 3 times and the door will be open. It said knock. So however many times you gotta knock. And maybe it's for a year, maybe it's for 5 years. I don't know, but you gotta knock and keep knocking. That's an action every day. Knock, knock, knock. Maybe find another door and knock on it. Maybe I don't know, but you got to keep trying something and keep putting the effort in on a daily basis.
No, yeah, I agree. And a lot of folks don't, and I don't say a lot of folks, but in serving the military, you can relate to this. I don't like to use the word balance, but there's a dynamic between your profession, your career, right, your passion, and then your family. And I did 26 years and struggled with that. How do you, I know you're just eclipsing 10 years with honorable service. How have you been able to manage that?
Yeah, the time management part definitely is not easy for sure, but I learned a lot of it in the Naval Academy, with all of the classes we had to take and playing football. Football itself in college is like a full-time job. And then also having, 18 to 22 credit hours every single semester. You add that with football, you really have to learn how to time manage so that you can one, keep your grades up so you can continue to play. And two, be able to do all the stuff you have to do on the football field so that your team can excel. So everything I learned as far as time management and how to divide up my day, use my notes, to keep track of kind of what I need to be doing and staying on track with that every single day. That's what I learned at the Naval Academy. I translated that over to the Navy because the Navy, when you're going on deployments, when you're on the ship,
Right.
there's a lot of stuff going on. So you got to manage all that. I translated it to there. Then from there, I translated it to what I'm doing now with NASCAR.
That is amazing. And one thing too that I was reading about your journey I guess the question I have is when you needed funding, right? When you were like, all right, I need some funding stream to do this.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did people go, no, disapprove?
Yeah, a lot, a lot actually. So when I first started, I decided to make some sponsorship proposals. I made them from scratch, and then started sending them out to a bunch of companies, thinking, oh yeah, just send a whole bunch of emails, and somebody will just eventually say yes. Probably sent like 800 to 1,000 emails. Maybe I don't know, 10 to 20 of them actually responded, and of those 10 to 20 responded, every one of them was a no. Some more polite than others. But yeah, it was difficult, definitely difficult to get going because no one wanted to support the journey. And that was fine. I had to move on. It's whatever. I got to go figure out another way to make or get the funding to race. I decided to start my own small business. And I figured, hey, if I start my own small business, if I take this entrepreneurship route, I can make extra money to get my racing going and also start something that's beneficial for me in the future. And I decided to put on drag racing events as my little small business. And I would rent the track out, invite people out, charge them spectator fees and racing fees and all that stuff. And the profit I would make from that, I would put back into my own racing. It got to a point where these events started having 2,000, 3,000, even we had one event with 6,000 people at the event.
Wow.
And the profits we made from all these type of events over the last 5 years now, a lot of that's gone back into my racing. And I think in 2016 and 17, most of those seasons were funded by my business before I started getting more sponsorship in 2018, 19, 20. So yeah, it's been good. And I've learned a lot by taking the entrepreneurship route.
That is amazing. And what does the future look like for you? I mean, you like say 10 years in the Navy, if you will, and you're doing great on the track. What does the future look like in Jesse Iwuji's mind?
Yeah, so I want to spend another 10 more years in the Navy. I've recently transitioned to the reserves, so now I'm in the reserves. But I want to spend the next 10 years in the reserves. Eventually make 06, and then on the NASCAR side of things, the goal is to make it to the NASCAR Cup Series. So right now I'm in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which is one step below the Cup Series. So just one more step to go before I get to the top. And then also just continue to grow my businesses. I just recently started getting into some real estate investing. I want to grow that. And, recently also dove into the esports world. So as you can see right here, ERA, E-Racing Association. That's my esports business that we just got going, me and my partners. And we had our first event actually just recently, and it went really, really well. We had thousands of viewers. It had over 600 participants who registered to compete in the event, which is awesome. So yeah, just trying to grow everything that I'm doing right now and continue to elevate every single year. And that's really the main plan. And then eventually after NASCAR, it's time to go Hollywood and maybe get in some movies.
Well, if you ever need someone to make coffee, man, Mario P. Fields, sorry, made it retired. Make sure your coffee is nice and hot.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, well, is there anything you would like to leave the listeners and viewers today?
Yeah, for anyone listening, just please be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of those. So just look up my name, Jesse Iwuji. That's Jesse. Last name is Iwuji. And if you can't remember how to spell it, go on Google, type in Navy NASCAR driver, and I should be the only one that pops up for a few pages. So yeah, follow me on all the social media platforms, like everything I do, share everything I do, and just support. It's the best way to support.
No, thank you. And I'll be sharing, supporting and as well. And ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you just type in his name, it pops up. So there's not much effort you need to find Jesse.
Yeah.
But hey, for Unarmored Talk podcast, you can listen to this episode on Google, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. You can watch this episode by subscribing to my YouTube channel, and that's Mario/P/Fields at YouTube. Leave us a review and a rating if you like it. If you don't, still leave us a review and a rating so we can get better. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.